Greetings and salutations. Welcome once again to my channel. I hope you are having a wonderful day today, and I hope I can make it a little bit more entertaining. We are once again with Folder of Plays, and if you recall, last episode I promised you to read the relic log as first the fragment we've collected. There are 10 of them, and I assume you collected those across your adventures until you get the full story completed. Let's get to it then, shall we? You pick up a broken stone tablet from the shelves. Somehow, this feels like the right one. Try as you might, you don't think you would have selected another for the thousands scattered among the shelves. You pause. The stone tablet in your hands is shattered. You try to make out the scanned passages to the best of your ability. The words enter your mind like searing marks through your eyelids. 12. The Lovers. Once north downwards, at the bottom of Aldania, rested a mighty kingdom of Myr. Travelers spoke of its beauty and might, and monarchs of other lands whispered in awe. Of such a kingdom can stand stalwart in the sunken lands filled with monsters. Truly, on all sides, Myr was alone. The goblin clans of the Thalassian gates assailed its borders. Hostile rivers stalked its traders. The kingdoms of Ashen Alliance eyed its reaches, and the primal sea ebbed and flow, swallowing and spewing out lands just outside of the walls. Yet Myr prevailed. Out of the 6 kingdoms sent on the original northern expansion, tracing the lost steps of the Voyager Saints' final expedition, Myr was the only kingdom that survived. The answer of Myr's prowess comes easily. If you ask one of its citizens, it would have one answer. Their knight captain, the Owl Master, duelist of the generation, crusher of Ozessa's crown. Their titles list on, enough to fill a tome of its own. By all accounts, the captain was charming and humble, a paragon of knighthood, beloved by all. They sailed all of their grace and mercy for the people, as the enemies of Myr only tasted a cold, bitter bite of their swords and the bolt. Away from the city gates and the markets which the captain frequented, high above the Myr's spires, often laboring away in the Mage's Lodge, lies a second, quieter part of Myr's power, the Grand Sibyl. It was she who consolidated Myr's facilitation and mastery over the Veil. It was she who saw the lodges and signs hidden in the primordial sea waves. And it was she who, time and again, through her unimaginable gift in sorcery and the arcane, removed Myr from catastrophe before even the earliest signs. Yet, the common folk rarely speak of her powers, for they are more often enchanted by her beauty. Rarely seen people will share tales of her ivory visage, hidden high up in the clerics' throne during the rare celebrations that took place in the inner palaces. Indeed, there was the might combined which brought Myr from a suffering, a flank kingdom to the juggernaut it is above. Whispers that even spoke of the growing interest of the tower. Seeing the increase in the presence within the kingdom, they guide their paths even more closely. It was a glorious time. Trades prospered, pilgrims visited for a chance to witness the knight who inherited the Slayer Saint's mantle, and the Northern Kingdom's collective jubilation at the arrival of stability, not seen since the days of the Black Iron Queen. A bastion of humanity, a foothold for the tower. This is far from its piercing light. The passage cuts out. Nothing more can be gathered. You wince. Who carved those stones? None survived the doom of Myr. Of all your time spent here, you've never met anyone who could retold those stories to you. Shivers, the twin spines attached to your back. The ones you tried every method to remove to no avail. You have been shaking, pulsating ever since you've entered this palace. It's acting out of the command. You feel an irresistible pull, blankness, as you look up. Your companions are gone, and you are alone. In the lightless corridor, a shape hanging upside down gazes at you from afar. As you reach for your weapon, you realize that it is that it is nowhere to be found. Then the shadow begins to speak. I am afraid that won't be necessary. You can't harm me in here, neither me you, for now. That is odd, like predicament we've found ourselves in, won't you say? It seems like, for the time being, we're trapped here together. A little room tucked out away nowhere, all to ourselves. Funny what your suit can do. The office oscillates. Its shapes twist, but its dead sides never leave you. For all, for all its lack of amenities, my tempers are cooled for now. So let's talk. Let me know your mind. What are you playing at? Why in the hells were you there, in those archives? Learning a little history? I never took you for a scholar. Now you're definitely more like the killing type. Or do you see the difference in having your followers do it for you? It's also painfully similar for me. The durability quests of dragon slaying finally bore you, growing a little tired of playing soldiers like your little band. You just lie, like it's your second nature, don't you? How many stories have you spun out of those followers of yours? Who plays their lives in your care? Who are you this time? A mercenary? A cartographer? But this time you just had to do more, didn't you? I can suffer through your game of insomnia, but acting as you are just some foreigner poking at the cadaver of this kingdom, that'll make a person angry. If you truly remembered nothing, like you claim, why do you not leave? Why Mir? Even in its heyday, it was just another hole in the dirt, another collection of scared people hiding in climate herbs, pretending that they are some inferior of the Grand Legacy. And now, not even the people remained. Well, most of them at least. You've seen the bugged heat types running around with ritual knives, have you not? But that's beside the point. You just can't set this place behind yet, can't you? Some odd feeling, some attachment unsevered. Well, I'm afraid you'd be disappointed if you were expecting some grand revelation from the broken records. I was there, you know, when the kingdom fell, when those tides rushed in and the ground caved beneath our feet. I recall it vividly. We'll get along so much better if you'd stop the jest and simply be at each other's throats again. The shadow fiddles with the stone tablet. Its hand leaves behind a black oily mark, reminding you of a dried blood or a leaking pressure organ. And yes, of course, I remember the Sybil. Back then, they thought she was a living saint. Did you know that? They'd bow their helms as she walked by, as well as she did, and she'd greet them. Too, half embarrassed, her laugh was like a running stream, clear and flowing. The night. How they all adored the captain, protector of the city, shield of me, bane of hobgoblins. Between you and me, their looks were passable at best. And they had a lazy shield and well in dueling. I guess it's just that nobody saw fit to take advantage of it. How could anyone think that there was anything special about them? My, you're just a stone wall, aren't you? Not one for conversation, afraid for your little act won't fly here. That's fine by me. Perhaps soon I'll visit you in the streets. Can't make you any promises about my mood, however. Yes, without us being trapped in limbo, it will be back to the regular scheduled killing and dying for you. Watch the spines too. Wouldn't want anything bad to happen to such an important dwelling, do we? See you in the next expedition, or the next one after that. Before you can react, you're back to the cold flutes of the archives again, as if no time had passed at all. That's quite the interesting passage, I would say. We are having some fantastical story of the Kingdom of Mir, and then we are confronting that with someone who apparently lived in that time, who calls out the protagonist, which is me, for the act of playing the story out of boredom or whatever ulterior motive and pretending to be not remembering anything. The story also portrays that we are not human, or at least not fully. It is, of course, filled with mentions of suits and a singular lens for an eye lens, which would incite that we are some sort of at least half machine, or we are supported by a lot of technology in our living. And there are also mentions of spines in this paragraph, I think. Yeah, the twin spines attached to your back, and that we try to remove them to no avail. So that would mean that they are not something we desire. Also, we don't really know who is the figure speaking. We can intuit that it is neither the captain nor the Sibyl, as the entity mentions both of them. And there is also the paragraph when it says it will return to the game, that we will return to the game of killing each other, and it would die for me, which could intend to say that this is the dragon we are talking to, the one we are killing in every hunt, which would make a bit of sense. And that's all I intuit from the fragment that we got so far. I assume we will be getting more of those fragments and piece up, and we will have the opportunity to piece out the story for ourselves. But with that, I haven't clicked through all of the entries, it seems. So yeah, you can see every single unit that I have recruited shows up with full archive page for it, which I won't be reading because it's simply way too much. But we've got its stats, cost, opportunities, amount of times recruited, ideogram apparently too, which I figured out it's the abilities of the creatures. This one is actually a pretty complex one, but let's go for some simpler one to explain how they work. For example, this. Upon death, so this would be the circle with X on it, give the followers +1 attack. This is the symbol of attack, gives, and this is the symbol of a follower. And until the end of combat is symbolized that it's the undercrossed. The symbol for follower is set up by the line, so it's only until the end of combat. Meanwhile, let's go for this one, for example. So when the next follower is recruited... wait, no, I mistook. The way to say that it's until end of combat is that there is no line underneath the +1 attack symbol, and this means all followers, because it's long line. And now that we compare it to cleric, for example, when the follower is recruited, so that's this, follower recruited, so added by this symbol, give them +1/+1, this is the symbol plus attack and health, and this time it's permanently, so there is line underneath them. And this is for one follower, so the line is short. And with that explained, let's find the archives I missed. I believe it's aspects here. As you can see, we also have aspects of different types. Medallions, and there are also trinkets that I recruit, and there is also all of the human followers. Then there is different types. We haven't found those two yet, but there is Fate's Gloves also. And there is few more, which we haven't seen yet. Anyway, let's get back to the gameplay. And we have few relics here to choose from. Each follower and aspect can only be recruited or invoked once. Gain the ability to reroll during recruitment events. And this is corruption level of 0.84, which I would leave for now, because last corruption level we did was also similar to this, and it was pretty easy. Relic of Vigor would entail all followers have +1 health, all enemies have -1 health, but they will attack first each combat, which would be a corruption level of 1.85, and this is one I would most likely go for. We also have the Relic of Neutrality. Aspects will be unavailable, Whenever the follower dies, all enemies will gain +1 health, which are just 2 negatives, and its corruption level of 3.61. And from last episode we can see that this corruption level is very hard. Also, interesting bit of lore. In the final moments, what did they see? And we can see a helmet with cracked shell and some cut pipes. And here it's in even worse condition. It has stuff poking into the helmet and it's visibly more damaged. So I assume this could be a helmet of follower or ourselves. Alright, equip with this relic. So let's start. Let's begin the run. Once again, for core health, so I assume the 5 was just for the first run, tutorial 1. This is the same text, and we have a new starter. So we did the Wanderer, we did Fate's Beloved. This was pretty strong build once it got rolling. And now we have the Delver. All aspects will be replaced with lost equipments. At the start of combat, gain 2 locus, whatever that means. I will go with this as this is a new option, and there's also the Collector. Maximum faith is 13. In recruit events, gain the ability to reroll and to merge 2 duplicate followers into a burnished follower. To unlock this origin, slay the dragon in reliquary mode while the corruption level is at least 3. So this won't be our run this time, but we will do that. We'll try that next time. For this one, I will choose Delver. All aspects will be replaced with lost equipment. And we will begin with the fight. Combat event, familiar foe. The goblin starts this time. Luckily we have enough stats to defeat it, but combat would only become harder and harder each time. And as you can see, now we have faith as well as locus, whatever those do. So I assume we have an entirely new mechanic. And let's begin. We already seen those two, we didn't see those two, however. New recruitment event as well, a look into the abyss. So I assume the Delver would be related to the waves that were attacking the city of Mir, the abyss forces. So what are the new things? Well, first let's read out the event. The doubts you had in the back of your mind, are quickly dispelled when they summoned the gateway. You knew what the Delver can do. On a conceptual level, and of a royal vault of Mir, filled to the brim with exotic weapons and treasure. But to see one at work, opening a fleeting but stable corridor into the sea, you must admit you're impressed. Take a look inside the vault and see what has floated high enough to skid materiality again. And let's look. Loot of Lovers. Give a chosen additional trait. At the start of combat, consume 1 locus to gain +1 faith and +1/+2 until end of combat. Interesting ability. So locus is an additional resource, it seems, and by consuming 1 we get 1 faith and some stats from the Loot of Lovers. And Bell of High Summoning. Give a chosen follower additional trait. At the start of combat and upon death, consume 1 locus to summon a 1/3 remnant. And I think I'm gonna go with this bell. It would consume all of our locus we generate every turn, but we would get a lot of stats from it, which would be pretty decent early on, because we are at the disadvantage right now. Enemy stepped first, and it's a pretty big deal. Now we have 2 goblins. So this is the remnant. We can't click on it to see what it is, but it seems like it has no ability, so it's just a 1/3 token. 1/3 follower that we get for free. And it doesn't take up this slot either. Now we gained 3 locus, which is interesting. So technically we could add something else that consumes locus, but we can only add something that consumes 1 if you want to sustain everything. We already seen all of those followers, but there is also Axis of the Lumberer. Give a chosen follower additional trait. The follower's first attack in each combat will consume 2 locus and also deal damage to random enemies. So I assume the first attack this follower would deal will also attack 2 other enemies at random, but we can't afford the locus cost currently. I'm gonna leave it for now then. And I'm gonna choose a sentinel to protect my delver, as we would need a lot of health to withstand the onslaught of enemies as they start. So as long as we fight goblins, it's no problem. We can deal with 1 goblin per turn, but it would get harder later on. And we gained 3 locus once again. So it would stand to reason we can afford to have 3 locus spent each turn. Give a chosen follower a trait at the start of combat, and upon death consume 1 locus to summon a 1/1/1/3 remnant. So we could have double the summoning power, which I think I will. Those summons seem pretty good to have early on at least. And now we are facing against a Shaman, which is a bit stronger. Luckily we have way more locus. Also I realize we are gaining 2 locus each turn because I don't actually consume 2 locus, because he never dies. So yeah, the locus gain is static 2 each turn, so right now technically I would be getting negative locus each turn if all of them die. The dove in the fountain, we already read it. I'm gonna go for faith because health with 2 follow-ups is not really good. We still can fill 3 follow-up slots, and we have a bunch of stuff, new stuff. We have a Hound. At the start of combat, summon another identical Hound. We could go for the summon build if we want to, since we have already a bunch of summons. But on ifs, when recruited, give all followers +1 health permanently. This would be good if we had a lot of followers, but it's not now. Helm of the Scholar King. Give the chosen follower additional trait. At the start of combat, gain 1 locus. This follower can have up to 3 additional traits. I see, so seems like Delver is the equipment build, which would want a lot of traits, and the traits will consume or add locus to fuel themselves. That would be something I would want. Compass of the Navigator Saint. Give the chosen follower additional trait. At the start of combat, consume 2 locus to set adjacent followers' stats equal to these followers. That would be good if we had a strong statted follower. Leash of the Riven Wolf. Give the followers additional trait. At the start of combat, consume 4 locus to gain 1/1 permanently. So that's the symbol for 4 locus. We can't sustain that at all right now. It would be decent scaling though. I am gonna go for the Helm of the Scholar. Well, no, I'm gonna lock the Helm of the Scholar King and I'm gonna go with Hounds. So I'm gonna put the Helm of the Scholar King on Hounds, as this summons an identical Hound, so it would stand to reason it also duplicates its equipment, which would be good to have something with 3 equipment traits on it. Let's get Hound then, and put it behind the Sentinel, at the end in fact. And we have some cultists, accusers and apostles, no traits. Let's continue. So we have quite the menagerie, as you can see. But all of it has 1 attack, which isn't that strong right now. It would get outscaled pretty fast, so I need to find a way to increase my attacks, or have a bonus abilities based on amount of followers I have. And we have 1 new relic, Mantle of the Kikimora. At the start of combat, die, gain 4 locus, and give all other followers +1/+1 until end of combat. Interesting ability. The unit just dies. I can't really afford that right now because I don't really have many followers. I'm gonna go for the helmet, and I don't think I will be locking anything, because this is not worth it with only 1 attack followers. Oh, I don't have enough faith for that, so I'm just gonna lock it and skip the choice for now. Well, do I? I was pretty close to losing. I'm gonna actually get another sentinel to protect me. So if we were a collector, those 2 would combine already. And it was good choice to increase my strength right now, because we now face a hobgoblin and I want more space. Or a lot of faith. That could be actually a valid choice this time. as we actually summon a lot of stuff anyway. The question is, can we defeat the Hobgoblin because it gains strength each time it attacks, but they have a lot of followers to deal with for it. Yeah, we simply just outnumbered him, and his high attack doesn't matter because he one-shots anyway. But there is just simply too many followers. I'm actually surprisingly gonna go for Faith this time. That much Faith will give me a lot of options. And we have some new ones too. Ritualist, at the start of combat trigger random followers death effect. So this could allow us to trigger the summon remnants at the death mob, but we already are consuming 4 locus each turn and generating only 2 of it. We do have familiar in the combat. We already had that. In combat, whenever an adjacent follower gains stats, this follower will gain the same amount. We don't really gain stats. And there is Hoarder. After firing combat, give random follower dead or alive more health permanently. That would be scaling. I'm actually gonna lock him and go for the helmet. Because I need more locus generation. And the helmet would go, of course, on the wolf. It actually changed the background, interestingly enough. And there is a lot of cultists. I might actually lose this based on the amount of stats I have. Oh, and that, yes, it does carry on the traits, and that means I actually gain 2 locus from the helmet I equipped. I still get 1 more summon from him dying. Alright, I won, but it's getting closer and closer each time. I have 1 locus right now. So I won't even trigger all of the start of the combat effects. And what do we have here? A bunch of stuff. Beekeeper, upon death summon 2 1/1 swarms of bees, another summoning synergy follower. And Flagbearer, upon death give all followers +1 damage until end of combat. That would be very strong for me, and I will definitely recommend that, but I will also log the Beekeeper instead of the Hoarder. Oh well, I guess I didn't even read the other options. This is only slightly stronger than the last fight. So yeah, the plan is to have everyone summon a lot of stuff. And then Flagbearer will buff all of those summons with its attack buff. I probably should place it even earlier. Alright, we won. I have 5 for us. Curio event calling. Do you see that red gate? The voice of the armed sentinel broke the silence. You look and see nothing. I'm afraid our paths might diverge here. Before we can speak, the armed sentinel is already unloading their gear. I wish you fortune in your quest, but I too must follow mine. Retain them or not, you must act fast. Yeah, I guess we already read it. So, remove the armed sentinel and randomly distribute their health among others, which would be pretty good. It has 8 health. Or +3 health and keep it. The sentinel currently has 1 of my relics for locus. I do think distributing the health would be pretty great on sentinel, and it frees up my unit slot. It could be probably more worth than the traits I have ordered. A shame that it didn't choose the traitless sentinel though. I am gonna distribute, however. So now we have a lot of health, and we're looking for something to dish out the damage. So yeah, we have the Log Beekeeper as an option. We have Stinger. After taking damage, deal random damage equal to remaining health. That will be good for health synergy. We have a Turret, which is a new supporter. When random damage is dealt by another follower, deal 5 random damage. I don't really deal random damage, that's an interesting choice though. And then we have Court Segment. Gain +1 follower capacity straight on, which I will most likely take. And another Helm of Skulking. More locus generation. And the follower can have up to 3 additional traits. I don't think this would stack on Hound. Otherwise this would be absolutely broken if we just keep putting helms on it. I will go for the Court Segment, and I will still have the Beekeeper locked acquire. So now this wants to die before the beekeeper buffs, I think. But Sentinel wants to be before the armed delver. Because it's the mystic I have for tanking. So he summons at the start. This summons at the start. This would also summon at death. That's a -2 locus and a +2 locus, so I'm getting +2 positive from his ability. And then after he dies, I get third summon. And Flagbearer buffs all 3 of them. Hopefully, I think. Unless this summons before the Flagbearer, which is an option. I'm gonna see then where it summons. It's right after the Delver, so I want Flagbearer before Delver then. Because right now only Hounds get the benefits. And I lost. That was a hard fight, I must say. I need to increase my strength right now. We have a Winemaker after taking damage given at the bottom for our +1/+1. And we have new relics. 3 Swords of the Undefeated. After each attack, consume 1 locus to make another follow attack. And add 1 to this cost. So this would pretty much drain all of our locus each round. Instead of the Sage Cities, when this trait is added, gain +1/+1 permanently. After surviving combat, gain +4 locus. I'm gonna put it on Hounds, as this would give me a lot of locus, but not right now. I need strength right now. I can't record the Beekeeper, damn it. I don't really need much more locus right now. That's the problem. It's only until end of combat. We are in quite the predicament right now. I could go for the swords. So this definitely goes before the armor delver. And I could go for locking Beekeepers too, as it's a lot of summons and it's at the upon death, so I would need to place it in front of Flagbearer. And some more summon followers will be removed after combat and they are not limited by follower capacity, but that would mean they would be before Flagbearer. Damn it. So this is actually not a synergy. That's a hard situation to be in right now. I think I'm gonna still get this relic and sacrifice 1 more cover health, and hopefully I would win next fight. There's a lot of stats. Hopefully putting the Flagbearer earlier would mean I'm stronger. Oof, barely strong enough. Actually won this. And now I generate a lot of locus, because the Hound will most likely wants to survive. That means I don't want Kikimava on the Hound. They can fit 1 more relic, as the first relic allows me to keep 3 additional traits. Well, 3 additional, so that would imply that I can keep 4 of them. Or it's 3, and the additional trait is just the name of the trait system in general. And we have new item, Shift Engine, gain the ability to reroll during recruit events. That would be pretty good to have, but I can't afford it. I can't afford pretty much anything from this. I could get the dual list, but I don't think it's really fitting my Summons energy. I would save up for the Beekeeper. So skip. Manticore. When masons or builders interact with material, they always leave behind markings. These markings tell the story of how they utilize their tools, and through their care and craftsmanship, the world has been transformed. The crafters in front of you have no such markings. Chunks of stone, steel, and whatever else has been removed clean from materiality. Hundreds of such creatures with edges sharp enough to draw blood. Something has been feasting. I will try to face it, but I doubt I would win. Still, it's better than do nothing here. You're unsure if the Manticore has full use of its sight. If it doesn't, then its wild and unpredictable movements shows nothing but the opposite. Almost majestic in the calm sleep we found it in. The gnashing beast, frothing and raging now in front of you, is the incarnation of hunger and wrath. Suddenly it stops in its tracks, heaving and growling, a loud guttural retch, accompanying the writhing mass it vomits out. Saints, even its breath have teeth. So we have Bizarre. Whenever this follower gains stats, Manticore and its Bizarres will gain the same amount. And then Manticore. When a follower gains stats, Manticore and its Bizarres will gain the same amount. But nothing really gains stats in this synergy as its trait. Just that all of them will gain stats at the same time. I guess it's bad if you have relics that would give enemy stats. Because then all the Manticore suddenly gains a lot of stats. Well, that was lucky, and I generate a massive amount of locus, so I can equip a lot of stuff now. And still can't afford the faith stuff. I'm gonna get more faith then. As faith is actually pretty bad for this character. So we have the Beekeeper, we have the Book of Saint Iskander. When faith is gained, another 4 gain plus 2 locus. That's something I need with my locus generation currently. Bloodletter of the Interrogator. When attacked, consume 1 locus to deal this follower's attack damage to the attacker. That would be good on tank. Mirror of the Jealous Knight. Whenever this follower gains stats, consume 1 locus to make 2 random followers gain the same amount. That's definitely interesting. And the Manticore Medallion. When this follower gains stats, gain an extra +1/+1. Not really that good for me. I am gonna go for Beekeeper, but what do I gonna... I think I'm gonna lock the Bloodletter? Yeah, I think Bloodletter. Lock it. And recruit the Beekeeper. So it's definitely behind Sentinel. And I think it's... Well, no, it's not behind Flagbearer. I guess that would be most optimal. Well, no, because the Beekeeper itself can gain the stats, otherwise it doesn't gain any. So I think this is optimal, because Sentinel doesn't attack anyway, so his attack from Flagbearer would be wasted on it. And we have a bunch of Shriekers and a Covetous Abductor. And I use the stat buffs. I guess the butterflies from Beekeeper, the bees from Beekeeper tank 2 enemies at least. Also, my unit list is so long it has to scroll. And it seems like Locus isn't really capped. That's pretty good actually. And we have a new troop, Incubator. Faith will always equal 14. So I have 14 faith each turn. This is absolutely busted, in my opinion. And I'm gonna recruit it 100%. And there is also Leash of the Riven Wolf, which is better than the Bloodletter, I think. And I do generate a lot of stats. I could put it on Hound actually. And it would neutralize my generation from Hound if I survive, but it would give them permanent stat buffs. Well, isn't the stat buff on the duplicate Hound wasted though? So it would be double the cost, but also double the effect technically. It's not, but the armed Hound effect would be negated this way. Wonder no trades. That's interesting too. I'm gonna lock this and recruit the Incubator, because with Incubator I will be pretty much set for faith always. It does mean I have... Well, that also means I can't get above 14 faith. I didn't thought about that. So I guess no super pricey followers for me. And I might actually lose this. Let's see. Yeah, I think I do lose this. Nope, I barely win. Phew. Yep, I can't gain more than 14 faith. That's unfortunate, but I think it's still worth it. With how much this build had problems with faith, if that's the case, I do have to pick strength here. One of it got wasted, one of it got doubled. And we have a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff that, of course, I can afford. Phylactery of the Blue Lich. At the start of combat, consume 20% of Locust to summon a remnant with stats equal to the total Locust. I have a lot of Locust right now. This seems like pretty goddamn strong ability to have. If I'm not doubling at least. And Severing Edge. Sever all followers in the recruitment event. They will no longer appear in the future events. So this lets me trim the follower pool in those events. I won't do it, I think, because this is pretty good for me. I'm gonna get the phylactery and keep the leash locked. What do I want this phylactery on, is the question. At the start of combat, consume 20% locus and the summon. I don't want this on the Hound because this would drain my locus very, very quickly. And I want the high generation. This would be replacing the double summons. I think I'm gonna put it on the flag bearer right now. Yeah, I think this is optimal. And we fight against those types of enemies this time. Alright. 15 attack and 4 health on the remnants that someone I've got. And we are at 40 locus right now. And 14 faces per moment, which would mean that I do get stuff like this every time. Shaft of the One-Eyed Hawk. At the start of combat, consume 5 locus to remove 1/3 of all enemy stats. This seems also very, very powerful. Beacon of the Intrepid, we will this recruit events with Seekist followers. Interesting, but not right now. I'm gonna go with the Scythe. And it would be on the... Well, this could actually go on Hounds. So I removed the third of enemy stats twice. Here we go. $16 follower. I am, however, losing locus now. So I would need to look into ways of generating more before my machine working on high locust breaks. Upon death, consume 10% locus and deal random damage equal to total locus. Unfortunately, I have already too much of locus loss. Upon death, gain +3 locus and give the follower behind +2 health until end of combat. That's something I want. God, consume 1 core health to wish for a aspect. I could afford that actually. As of combat, consume 2 locus to set adjacent for stats equal to these followers. Unfortunately, I can't put it on the summon that the flag bearer produces. So I think, well, this is a new sculptor. At the start of combat, consume 4 faith to summon two 4 sculptures. I can't actually use this because I have infinite faith. So here is the deal. I'm gonna recruit the sculptor instead of the sentinel, and then I'm gonna lock the banner of the 9th expedition. Hunt event, the aftermath. The first things you smell are fresh and tar. Which fire burns in the distance? A battle took place here recently between warriors of great strength. A woman stands amidst the ruins, noticing your approach. She waves a greeting. I'm afraid you're late. Her voice slivers like an arched beast of the rocks. But perhaps we can agree upon a trade. Your finest warrior for the price the price of this beast. It would take my Hound, which I can't really afford to sacrifice. It is just too strong right now. Gain +1 follower capacity and remove a random chosen follower. I'm out. I don't think I can afford it. Also, could this woman be Cebu? Perhaps? Which fire burns in the distance but took place here? Between warriors of great strength, a woman stands amidst the ruins. So this could technically be Witch, I think. Back to broken ruins, and Another set of followers, a lot of small ones. I think I'm good against this. Sculptor is at the start of combat, I think, so I can place flag bearer in front of it. For the start buff on those sculptures. Yes, it is start of combat, so it should go behind the flag bearer. Well, there is a helmet actually. At the start of combat gain one more locus and more traits. Can I put it on the Hound? I could. I wonder if it would give me more once again. And there is also Diviner. When that flower is replaced by another, permanently transfer all stats to them. That's good for a buy-sell strategy. I could also get Corbed Segment from the shop, Banner of the Expedition. I think I want mob generation first, before more follow-up capacity, so I'm gonna lock the follow-up capacity, and then invoke the banner. Upon death gain +3 locust, and I'm gonna put it on the sculptor, which is most likely to die. It gives more stats to the beekeeper as well. And let's start. A lot of summons. Can I actually see all of them or scroll through? No, I can't really. We got entire page of units remaining. This summon build seems pretty strong right now. We have new stuff, Chaser. Whenever a new follower is recruited, permanently steal 2 attack from them. I think I already saw it actually. And then Stranger, when recruited, gain a random combat trait. Interesting. Gauntlet, and then Sword of Water Calling. Seems a bit like a nail from the Hollow Knight. When this trait is added, gain +1/+1 permanently. After each attack, gain +1 locus. That's pretty good generation. It gives stats buff only once, but I could actually put it on the Hounds to increase my locus generation. Intrepid aspects. Let's go with this. No, I cannot. They are already full. So it's 3 total traits, and because I could place the helmet on them, it would indicate that helmet itself counts as one of those 3. And it stacks, so I could have 6 traits on this armed Hound. And then double those traits technically. I am gonna lock this and get another floor space. Let's continue our expedition. We are running low on locus, however. Our summons from the flag bearer is getting pretty weak right now. Only 10 this time. I guess all of that percentile cuts do take their toll. And we have new events. What remains of the Grand Archives? Interesting, you don't recall her visage. You're in a place proper now. It feels like you have been traveling for days. Corridors lead to rooms with no rhyme or reason. Only when you see rows of shelves with no end in sight do you realize that you've by evoking in the remnants of the Grand Archive, the dragon sleeps just beyond, not much further now, and front of power surges nearby, and in the rebels a weathered stone tablet softly calls. I can unlock another fragment, gain +5 faith. The next recruit event can be rolled repeatedly, which is bad for me as I can't really gain faith. You don't recall her visage. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So I cannot choose this option because I don't recall her visage. It would be an option later on. We are gonna go for another fragment then. And we are 5 depths until next hunt, and if I recall, the hunt on floor 50 is the dragon, the last one. So we have Gladiator. This floor's attack damage always equals to health. The Disciple, at the start of combat, gain health equal to faith until end of combat. That's really strong for me. It's basically 314 health. until end of each combat on it. And Sandbat, it's a new thing. In each recruit event, one random follow-up will be replaced by a hollow follow-up. That's also something new, but I don't think I want to explore it that late into the run right now. Maybe other time when it's presented earlier. I think I'm gonna go for the Disciple with the Sword of the Water calling still locked in. Alright, so this is just this stat stick. And I think this is a pretty fine place to place it. Yeah, 20 health. Pretty good tank. And it can actually attack compared to Sentinels. And we pretty much smashed this. I wonder if you can defeat the dragon on the first go about. I doubt it, as this is not such a bastard build to our last time that fit up the dragon. It's late for the sanctuary scaling. We could get another banner for more generation. This is 2 generation and some stats permanently. This would be 3 generation and half would be pretty much wasted. More follow-up capacity. Wow, I could have 8 follow-ups this one. I'm gonna go for this and lock the follow-up capacity. Well, do I lock follow-up capacity? I don't think I actually do. Because I'm running out of time to recruit more stuff. I'm just gonna get the follow-up capacity. I'm interested if 8 is the max one actually. Because as you can see, we are already at 8. Well, no, we can fit 9 at the, on screen at the same time. So 9 could be the max for capacity, like the base one. Or it's infinite. And what do we have here? More scythes. I can't afford more scythes. I think I'm just gonna go with the sword. Well, Familiar is actually pretty strong. Whenever adjusted for gains stats, this one gains the same amount, and we put it next to the Disciple. Zeal Mushroom, the next recruited for, will have double the amount of stats, and won't be recruiting anything else. I guess I'm gonna go for Familiar, just to have it. New troop recruited, and all floors with slots filled. I technically should have replaced this supporter by now also, because I don't have need for faith right now. And here we have the dragon, 349 health because we removed one, but they would attack first. I do have a lot of health stats though. And now also a lot of attack stats thanks to the flag bearer across all of those summons. Oh right, the scythes did a lot of work on it. It cut 2/3 of its stats. So I actually might have a chance here. The scythes are pretty powerful, it seems. And I think I will actually win this. Enemies don't have enough attacks to defeat me at this point. And we beat the dragon on the first try, once again. This time not as spectacularly, with having a 100 damage and 300, almost 400 health troop that only takes 2 damage per attack. Still pretty strong though. I think this is a repeat, so I'm not gonna read this. Expedition results. New fragment found. So yeah, this is the progress. You've found a dream this time. Place your hand on the bitter stone and recall memories no longer yours. And yeah, fragments retrieved. Exit to the title. No more unlocks, just the fragment. Well, we will have something to beat next episode. And we have a bit of new unlocks. We've seen more than half of the events by now. And as you can see, some of the events have multiple stages. That's what I sometimes read it. For example, a small encampment has 6 different stages. And each of them have different texts. So that's why I read through some events to decide if I still need to read them. We have unlocked filled our journal a bit more here this time, with a bunch of new stats, new followers. Interesting, this is the Sandbot, but the Zealot one, so this could be the Zealot category. And also we have aspects. Any new? Yes, one new aspect. And then lost equipment is the category that the Delver specializes in, it seems. And there are plenty more of them. We've seen a lot, but we haven't seen 6 of them yet. And there is the enemies. We found the last one, blinding impulses from this one set. We did fight the Manticore for the first time. And then with the second fragment, Vows, which we would read at the start of the next episode. No, I still haven't clicked through all of this stuff. Thank you for watching. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It would help you out a lot. And with that, until next time, goodbye.